Ever dreamt of having a sweater that's comfortable, always in style, and pairs with everything in your wardrobe? Well, today is the day to make this dream a reality. In this tutorial, you will learn how to knit the Drop and Dream sweater, a simple yet versatile drop shoulder design. It features a shoulder seam that shifts slightly toward the back, creating a unique and flattering structure. The great thing is, it's quick to knit and is built around basic techniques. Once you master it, you will be ready for more creative projects with the same type of construction. Ready to give it a try? If you know how to knit and purl and have already made scarves or hats, you've got all the skills you need to knit this sweater. I was lucky to have a few beginner knitters in my test group and they completed this project beautifully. Worth to mention, if you have never knitted at all, this sweater might be a bit challenging as your first project. To get started, head over on Etsy or Ravelry to download the Drop and Dream sweater pattern, because you will need to know the stitch count for your size to ensure the perfect fit. Plus, the video tutorial will walk you through every step in the pattern, so there is no guesswork involved. As always, all the links and important details are in the description box below, and I will talk about the yarn options in just a moment. In the meantime, we discovered this sweater looks amazing on men as well, because Alex was curious why he still has nothing to wear. So you have a great opportunity to knit one for yourself and the second one for someone special. The Drop and Dream sweater is also the first in the series created specially for beginners to help you master the most popular basic sweater constructions effortlessly and with confidence. I know that feeling when you want to knit something beautiful but feel unsure about your skills. That is why I introduced Esenique Essentials. And next up is the First Star sweater, a circular yoke design that's even simpler than beloved Mellow Mood sweater. It's perfect for anyone dreaming of knitting their first sweater. If you love this idea, knitting all basic sweaters, please let me know by giving this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel Knit with Esenique so you will get notified when these new videos are published. And for more behind the scenes content, I invite you to Instagram. Okay, let's cover yarn options. The light blue and navy blue samples, along with the light gray one I will be knitting in this tutorial, are all knitted with Drops Nepal Aran medium thick yarn. If you are a beginner, this yarn or similar regular wool yarn is a great choice, because it's easy to work with and easy to unravel if you need to make any changes. This is what I recommend for your first Drop and Dream sweater, but I also have two more creative options for your second sweater, or if you are feeling a bit more adventurous. For a lighter feel, I tried Drops Air in powder pink. This fluffy blown yarn creates a sweater that feels like a cloud. However, I wouldn't recommend it for beginners since it can be a bit tricky to work with. The fabric can turn out uneven. If you would like to learn more about blown yarn and how to handle it, check out my essay note Knitting Mystery Same Garment Half the Weight from July 23rd, where I share tips and tricks on working with this type of yarn. Another option is to knit with two strands of yarn. You can pair a worsted weight yarn like Drops Lima with a strand of kid mohair. This combo gives you that lovely soft and fluffy texture, but it's best for more experienced knitters or for your second project. While knitting with two strands isn't difficult, unraveling can be a challenge, and mohair tends to lose its fluffiness with each unraveling. And here's where it gets really creative. Mixing two colors can yield a totally unique shade that's all your own. If you're curious about how to work with two strands, one being mohair, I have a detailed essay note guide to combine yarns with mohair, tips and creative ideas from September 3rd, which you can find linked in the description. To help you make the best yarn choice, I've updated my free Aran weight yarn guide. It's packed with great options for this sweater. Download it in the goodies section on my website esenique.com. Okay, I know you are eager to get started. Grab your chosen yarn and needles and let's dive into knitting. Let's get started on the back section. We need to cast on stitches loosely, so the best way is to use a long tail cast on with two needles. Take your larger 5.5mm needles with 80 cm cable. This is US size 9 with a 31-inch cable, and cast on the required number of stitches for your size. I will knit size small. Just be careful not to let them slip off the other end. Take out one needle and leave stitches on the second one. Now cut the yarn. Yep, you heard me right, cut it. Leave a nice long tail so you can weave it in later. And tie the two tails together to keep the stitches safe on the needle. Round 0. Start by slipping the right number of stitches for your size from the left needle to the right needle, purlwise. And place a stitch marker. Now let's join the yarn. You could tie a little knot, but I usually just start knitting. Purl the required number of stitches for your size. Place a marker and double check how many stitches you have left on the left needle. Turn your work to the right side. Okay, let's break down what we have here. This is the sweater's back neck, and this will become the future shoulder seams. In the first part of the back section, we will be working back and forth to join the back neck and shoulders. You can place 2 removable stitch markers here to mark the beginning of each shoulder seam. Row 1. We are on the right side and we need to make a double stitch to avoid any gaps at the shoulder seam. Here's how we do it. Bring the yarn to the front, then slip the first stitch from the left needle to the right knitwise. Give it a little tug and bring the yarn over the needle to the back and give it another gentle pull. You will see 2 little legs forming the double stitch. I like to hold it with my finger to keep it secure. This is why we cast on stitches loosely. Now knit to the marker we placed earlier. When you get there, remove it, knit 2 more stitches, place the marker, and turn your work to the wrong side. Row 2. Let's make the double stitch on the wrong side. Keep the working yarn in front, slip the first stitch from the left needle to the right, purlwise, and then pull the yarn to the back to make the double stitch. It's easier than it sounds. Now place the yarn in front, since we are purling, and purl to the next marker, where you will see the double stitch we made before. Here's the crisscrossed stitch. It has those 2 legs, but we purl it as a single stitch. Insert your right needle from the right to left, as you normally would for purl, through both legs and purl them. Tighten the yarn slightly. Remove the marker and purl 2 more stitches. Place the marker back and turn your work to the right side. Row 3. Let's do that double stitch again, just like in row 1. Bring the yarn to the front, slip the first stitch knitwise, and pull the yarn back to make the double stitch. Knit to the next marker, where you will find the double stitch from the wrong side. This is a double stitch, but we will knit it as if it's a single stitch. Insert the needle from the left to right through the both legs of the stitch, where will be 2 legs on each needle, and knit them together as 1 stitch. Remove the marker, knit 2 more stitches, and after the first one, give the yarn a little tug to keep the double stitch snug. Place the marker back and turn your work to the wrong side. Row 4. This one's just like row 2, so nothing new here. Make the double stitch first by bringing the yarn to the front, slipping the first stitch purlwise, and pulling the yarn back to create that double stitch. Then bring the yarn to the front again and purl to the next double stitch. And purl it as a single stitch through both legs. Remove the marker, purl 2 more stitches, place the marker back and turn to the right side. Great job! Now just repeat rows 3 and 4 as many times as you need for your size. I will need 2 rows with you to give you some extra confidence. Row 5. Make a double stitch with the yarn in front. Knit to the next double stitch before the marker. Knit it as a single stitch. Remove the marker. Knit 2 more stitches. Place the marker and turn the work. Row 6. Make a double stitch with the yarn in front. Bring the yarn back to the front and purl to the next double stitch before the marker. Purl the double stitch as a single stitch through both legs. Remove the marker, purl 2 more stitches, place the marker back and turn your work to the right side. In your PDF pattern you will see a handy row counter to keep track. We've just finished 6 rows together. Now just keep repeating these 2 rows until you've completed the required number. Your last row will be on the wrong side with 1 or 2 stitches left to go. Keep going and I will see you at the next step. We've reached the last row. Purl the final double stitch. Remove the marker. Purl 2. And you will have 1 or 2 stitches left, depending on the size you are knitting. Just purl those stitches and turn your work to the right side. I know it might look a bit strange right now, but trust me, it will all come together soon. And congratulations, you've just learned how to do German short rows. Well done! Now let's take a quick measurement before moving on. It's perfectly fine if it's off by about 1 centimeter or half an inch from what the pattern says. Let's move on to the second part of the upper back. First, let's place removable markers on each side to indicate the shoulder seams. Row 1. We are on the right side. No more double stitches. Just knit all stitches to the end of the row. When you reach the last double stitch from the previous row, knit it as a single stitch. That's it for row 1. Turn your work to the wrong side. Row 2. On the wrong side, we will purl all stitches to the end of the row. Once you are done, turn your work to the right side. From here, you will repeat these 2 rows, knitting on the right side and purling on the wrong side for as many times as needed for your size. Keep it going, and I will meet you at the control point 1. And here's a quick tip. Always add a new skein of yarn at the edges, never in the middle of your work. This way it will be less visible when you weave in the ends later. The upper back is done. Great job! You will find the same project planner in your PDF pattern as well. Let's take a quick measurement of the length to make sure you are on track. Don't worry if it's not perfectly exact. Being within about 1 cm or half an inch is just fine. If you are off by more than that, take a moment to check your gauge again. If everything looks good, give yourself a well-deserved cheer because you are doing amazing. Now, put your stitches on hold using a scrap yarn or a silicone cord. Then go ahead and cut the yarn. And if you have spotted any issues, don't worry, we've all been there. I've unraveled my knitting more times than I can count, and it's totally normal. Remember, sometimes a small step back can be a huge leap forward. You can start over to make it even better next time. Alright, we are moving to the front section. Lay your back piece in front of you with the right side facing up. We will start by picking up stitches for the left shoulder, moving from the back neck towards the outer edge. I've got my mauve stitch markers in place to mark the shoulder borders, but I like to double check for accuracy. I will aim for that last V-shaped stitch at the outer edge to make sure the sleeve seam stays nice and tidy. I will count my stitches from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's where I will begin picking up the first stitch. Take your new yarn and pick up the number of stitches needed for your size, working from the neck towards the shoulder edge. Once done, turn your work to the wrong side and purl all stitches. There we go, 2 setup rows complete. Now we are ready for the first part of the shoulder, where we will knit without any increases. Row 1. We are on the right side. Knit all stitches. Turn your work to the wrong side. Row 2. Wrong side. Purl all stitches. Repeat these 2 rows according to the pattern instructions for your size. Once that's done, we will move to the second part of the shoulder, where we will shape the neckline by adding increases. Row 1 on the right side. Knit 3 stitches. Place a marker to remind you about the upcoming increase. Then make one left. This is an easy increase, and here is how to do it. Pick up the strand between the last stitch and the next one from the front to back using your left needle. I find it helpful to guide myself with my right needle. Then I move my right needle through the front loop to the back loop and knit it. And we have a new stitch. Knit to the end of the row. And turn your work to the wrong side. Row 2 on the wrong side. Purl all stitches. Repeat these 2 rows for the number of times your size calls for, making a 1 stitch increase on the right side and purling all stitches on the wrong side. I will show once again. Knit 3 stitches. Slip marker, make 1 left. And knit to the end of the row. You've got this. Let's pause and see what we've got so far. Measure the length from the shoulder cast on edge down to check if you are on track. If everything looks good, place the stitches on hold using waste yarn or a silicone cord. Then cut the yarn. The left shoulder is done. Well done! Alright, let's move on to the right shoulder. Place your back piece in front of you with the right side facing up. For this shoulder, we will pick up stitches from the outer edge towards the neck. Start by counting the stitches you need to pick up and mark the last stitch. Using a new yarn, pick up and knit the required number of stitches for your size through those V-shaped stitches. Turn your work to the wrong side and purl all the stitches. That completes the 2 sit-up rows. Next, we will work the straight part of the shoulder without any increases. Row 1 on the right side. Knit all stitches. Row 2, wrong side, purl stitches. Repeat these rows according to your size as specified in the pattern. Once you've finished the straight part, we will move on to shaping the neckline with increases. Row 1 on the right side. Knit to the last 3 stitches. Then make one right. Pick up the strand between the last stitch you knit and the next one, from the back to front, with your left needle. I use my right needle to guide the process. Knit this newly picked up strand as if it were a normal stitch. Place the marker and knit the last 3 stitches. Turn your work to the wrong side. Row 2 on the wrong side. Purl stitches. Repeat these 2 rows, making a 1 stitch increase on the right side with make 1 right and purling all stitches on the wrong side. Once again, knit to the last 3 stitches. Make 1 right. Slip the marker and knit the last 3 stitches. Let's check the length of your right shoulder. If everything looks good, we are ready to join it with the left shoulder. Don't cut the yarn. Let's connect the left and right shoulders by adding new stitches for the neckline. You are starting at the outer edge of the right shoulder on the right side. Row 1. Knit all the stitches on the right shoulder. Next, cast on X stitches for your size using the backward loop method. Here is how. Make a loop with the yarn over your thumb and then place it onto the needle. That's it. After casting on, slip the left shoulder stitches back onto the left needle. And knit all of them too. I fix the first stitch with a crochet hook. Count all your stitches to make sure you are on track, and once everything looks good, turn your work to the wrong side. Row 2. Purl all the stitches. The newly cast on stitches might feel a bit snug at first, but don't worry, they will settle into place as you continue. Row 3. Turn your work to the right side and knit across all the stitches. We will keep alternating between knit and purl rows until we will finish the front section. Let's work through a few rows together. Once you reach the end, turn your work to the wrong side. Row 4. And on the wrong side, purl every stitch. You've got this. Now, just repeat rows 3 and 4 for the number of times needed for your size. And I will meet you at the next control point. Let's keep going. Next control point. Let's measure from the shoulder cast on edge down and compare it with the pattern. You will see that the front section is about 3 cm or 1 inch longer than the back. The shoulder seam is gently shifted towards the upper back, creating that elegant English tailored shoulder shaping. Everything in place? Great, let's continue. It's time to join the back and front sections. You should be at the start of your row, right near the outer edge of the front piece. Let's begin by knitting across all the stitches for the front section. When you reach the end, cast on the stitches for the underarm using the backward loop method. Just follow the number for your size in the pattern. Next, transfer the back section stitches back onto the needle. And knit across them. And again, cast on the underarm stitches the same way. Once they're done, place the beginning of the round marker. Double check the stitch count to ensure everything's correct, and then we will knit approximately 10 rounds in total. Just continue knitting all the stitches, including those newly cast on stitches. And then we will try on our knitted piece to see how it's coming along. Time to try on your knitted piece. Slip half of the stitches onto scrap yarn, a silicone cord, or even another pair of smaller size needles so you can easily check the fit. Don't worry if the neckline feels loose, that will tighten up once we add the ribbing. Right now we are focusing on the width and overall look. And here's a designer's tip. Before continuing with the body, consider putting it on hold and jumping ahead to the neck and sleeve sections. The body will be straightforward from here, but making adjustments for the neck or sleeves is easier now, while you are still close to the yoke. Finishing the neckline will give you a glimpse of the final look and keep you motivated to finish the sweater. Once you are happy with the fit, let's get back to the process. Return the body stitches to your needles. Then knit in the round until you reach the desired sweater length before starting the ribbing. This part might take a little while, so grab your favorite TV show or podcast and settle in for some relaxing knitting. See you soon! You've done it! The biggest part of the Drop and Dream sweater is finished. Ready to try it on and check the length? Let's do it! By now you should have a good idea on how the sweater fits around the chest. If you would like, you can add a little more length here. Next, let's complete the body with a 1x1 ribbed edge. Switch to your smaller needles, 4.5mm, US 7, and start the ribbing. Knit 1, purl 1, and repeat all the way around. After the first round, your stitches will be transferred onto the smaller needles. Work 9 more rounds the same way, and then we will be ready to cast off. Once that's done, it's time to cast off the stitches. I like to keep things simple and use a basic cast off, gently stretching each stitch for a loose, flexible edge. That's it, the body is complete. Amazing job! Now we are moving on to the sleeves. We will be picking up stitches along the armhole to get started. I've already knit one sleeve to show you how it looks. First, we need to pick up stitches between the first and second stitch columns along the armhole, but there is a shoulder seam in the way. Here is a little trick to avoid any gaps and get that clean, polished look, just like on the sleeve I've already finished. Find the last stitch column right on the shoulder seam. See it? That's our guide, and we will use the same column for both sides of the armhole. On the one side you might see one stitch column, and on the other you might see two. Now, since we need to pick up stitches at the bottom of the armhole, let's place some removable stitch markers to mark the path. We start at the bottom and work our way up towards the shoulder seam, moving clockwise. On the other side, we will follow the same column for picking up stitches. So we've got our stitch column mapped out, but how do we make sure we pick up stitches evenly? The pattern recommends picking up 2 stitches and skipping the next one. Each stitch corresponds to a row in your knitting, so it's pick up one, pick up the next one and skip the next one, and repeat. That's good, but since the armhole is quite large and I need to pick up 66 stitches for my size, I want to make sure I'm picking up the right number without ending up with too many or too few. Here is another handy tip. Divide the armhole into 4 sections with different colored stitch markers. One at the top, one at the front center, one at the back center, and one at the bottom. Now, instead of picking up all stitches at once, you can break it down into smaller, more manageable parts. For my size, I will pick up 16 stitches in each of 2 sections and 17 stitches in each of other 2. Much easier, right? Let's go ahead and start. Beginning at the bottom and with the new yarn, start picking up stitches along the path we have marked out. Pick up 1, pick up 2 and skip next. And this is my marked path. So again, pick up 1, pick up 2, and again skip next. If it's tricky to pick up stitches with your needle, you can use a crochet hook to easily catch the yarn and place it on your needle, like this. Okay, what to do if you picked up your stitches but still have a few stitches left before reaching the marker? If you pick them up, you will end up with too many stitches and you need to adjust. So go back a little bit and instead of picking up 2, skip 1, pick up 1 and skip 1 a few times. And you will have the correct number of stitches for this section. Alright, let's continue picking up stitches around the entire armhole. We've got all the stitches on the needles now. I'm using the magic loop method for this, and I will leave a link for the video tutorial for magic loop in the description or in the corner of the screen. Okay, knit across all the stitches. And place your beginning of the round marker right in the middle of the underarm. This will mark the start of each new round. When it's time to add a new skein of yarn, do it near the beginning of the round marker to keep everything neat. Next, we will knit the sleeve until we reach the desired length, and at the same time we will make simple decreases to taper the sleeve towards the cuff. For now, knit the necessary number of rounds for your size, and I will show you how to do the decreases. Alright, I've knit 10 rounds for my size S, and now I need to decrease 2 stitches in round 11. Here's how you do it. Knit 1, then knit 2 stitches together. Insert your needle into the next 2 stitches as if they were one, and knit them together. Then knit to the last 3 stitches. Next, slip, slip, knit. Slip 2 stitches, knit twice. Insert left needle tip into the fronts of these 2 slip stitches and knit the slip stitches together through the back loop. Then knit the final stitch of the round. And that's it, you've decreased 2 stitches in this round. After that, you will just keep knitting the required number of rounds for your size before repeating the decreases. To keep track, I like to add a removable stitch marker in the round right after each decrease. This makes it easy to count the rounds between decreases. Now, take your time with the sleeve. I will finish up my second one and we will meet at the cuff. Feel free to adjust the sleeve length to your liking, make it as long or short as you prefer. Now, if the length feels just right, we can move on to finishing the sleeve with the cuff. Take your smaller needles, 4.5 mm or US 7, and work a 1x1 rib for 10 rounds, just like we did for the body. Knit 1, purl 1, all the way around for 10 rounds. All done. Loosely cast off your stitches, just like for the body. That's it for the sleeve. Repeat the steps for the other sleeve and then we will move on to the final step, the neckband. Time for the neckband. I will be knitting a single layer neckband like on this blue sweater. But if you are using a blown yarn as drops air, a double folded neckband could be a better option. Here's what a double folded neckband looks like in drops Nepal and Aran weight yarn. This is the artist sweater, which we will be knitting together in January 2025. A quick heads up, knitting a double-folded neckband can be a bit tricky, so if you are a beginner, I would recommend sticking with the single-layer neckband. But for those up for a challenge, I will include a link in the description to a helpful video tutorial. For now, let's dive into the single-layer version. Take your 4.5 mm US 7 circular needles. You can use either a 40 cm 16-inch cable or a longer one for a magic loop method. With the right side of the sweater facing up and the back towards you, we are going to pick up stitches along the neck, just like we did for the sleeves. To make it easier, divide the neck into 4 sections using removable stitch markers. One at the left side of the back, one after the straight section of the neckline, another before the straight part of on the other side, and the last marker before the back section. For size S, I need to pick up 78 stitches. We will start at the center back and picking up every stitch. Write down how many stitches you've picked up as you go. In the straight parts of the neckline, we pick up 2 stitches, then skip the next one. When you reach the curved section of the neckline, you will want to avoid any gaps, so you might end up picking up more stitches than needed. Your goal is to end up with the correct stitch count for your size. For example, if you need 78 stitches in total, subtract the stitches from the straight parts and from the back. Whatever is left, that's how many stitches you will pick up along the neckline. If necessary, skip a stitch here and there to stay on track. All your stitches are on the needle. Great job! Place a beginning of a round marker at the center back of the neck and knit a 1x1 rib for the number of rounds the pattern specifies for your size. Knit 1, purl 1. When you are done, cast off stitches loosely. And that's it, your sweater is officially complete. Give it a try on, and if you love how it looks, it's time to weave in the ends and give it a gentle hand wash. We are almost done. Now it's time to finish up by weaving in the ends and giving the sweater a nice wash. First, turn your sweater inside out and weave in all the ends. You can use a tapestry needle for the longer yarn tails. And the crochet hook works perfectly for shorter ones. Actually, a crochet hook is quite the handy tool for knitters. Next up is washing the sweater to help the stitches settle and let the yarn truly blossom. Fill your sink or basin with lukewarm water and add a little wool wash or any gentle detergent. I've shared more details on wet blocking in one of my essay notes, and I will leave a link in the description box below. For my sweaters, I use Eucalan no rinse wool wash. I add a bit to the water and then let the sweater soak for about 20 minutes. After soaking, gently press out the excess water without wringing the fabric. And if you are using a regular detergent, don't forget to rinse the sweater thoroughly. Lay the sweater on a towel, roll it up and gently press out even more water. Then place it flat on a dry towel and adjust the shape. Use a ruler or measuring tape to make sure the sleeves and body are the right length and width. Now just leave it to dry completely. It may take a day or two, but the wait is worth it. And here's the exciting part. Look at the difference. This is how my sweater looked before washing. And this is the final result. The fabric looks smoother, the stitches are more even, and the yarn has softened and fluffed up beautifully. It's now ready to wear with love. Congratulations on finishing your drop and dream sweater. You should be so proud, and I bet you're excited to cast on your next one. We will meet again soon for the first task sweater tutorial, but if you are not ready to say goodbye yet, come join me on Instagram where I share behind the scenes moments. Or if you want something more personal, subscribe to Essay Notes. This is my weekly email filled with for knitting tips, yarn recommendations, pattern spotlights, everything for adventurous beginners. If you would like to dive deeper in my knitting world and learn alongside me, just click the link in the description to subscribe to Essay Notes. I would love to have you there. That's it, friends. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this tutorial, please let me know with a thumbs up. And see you in the next one. Bye bye.